Recording started.
I'm glad we were able to fix the mysterious sound. Don't know what that was, but supposedly one of my mics was bad. So anyways, hopefully you guys are doing well. Looks like we're kind of low in numbers today. I think it's rolling down to the end of the school year and everybody's anxious and ready to get out. So welcome. This is lesson 6, and this will actually be the signing of our last lesson. And then I'm just gonna hound you guys to get all your stuff in. So you need lesson 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and that's gonna complete our geography class. Okay, so no worries there. Let me know if you do need anything on those ends. We can talk about it. But let's talk about what we're gonna do today real quick. So today, what's going to happen, I'm going to give you a Google form at the end of this. This is your assignment. I'll give you a Google form. Students will take a political ideology quiz and put the political scale in which the quiz identifies you as, okay? With 80% accuracy. So it's really easy. But one of the things we're supposed to be going over in geography, and this leads you on, usually you take geography in 9th grade. I know some of you may not have taken it in 9th grade, but you're older. But this should lead on to U.S. history and other politics that you might have to deal with in your history classes. So that's what we're going to be doing today, is just talking about political ideology. Okay, so we're going to talk specifically in the United States. Now, politics outside of the United States, they have different parties, stuff like that, but we're going to dive just right into the United States. And we're going to be talking about America is very split and divided. So can anybody tell me what two political parties? There are other political parties, but the two major political parties in the United States that run basically everything. Can anybody write those down for me and tell me? Okay, Democrat and Republican. Fantastic. So, usually the Democrats are represented by the donkey here, as you can kind of see. And then the Republicans, they have the elephant. So it's just something that's kind of been on there. And usually most people vote, or any major candidates vote, or are associated with one of these two parties. So why is that? Because of the way we've set up our system, and I'm going to go over the college electoral a little bit of how we do the president of the United States. If you had like a third party come in, it basically doesn't work, right? You have to get a majority to win, and that majority is not taken in. So the system wasn't set up to only have two parties, but because of the way it was kind of set up, it was kind of like an unintended consequence of the founding fathers that don't have that. Didn't they call Andrew Dutch or something, and he accepted the name? Yeah, so Andrew Jackson was one of the first Democrats on there. I'm not sure if they called him a donkey. So Andrew Jackson was kind of an interesting guy in regards to personality. He was like a general in the army, very militant, that kind of stuff. But I'm not sure they gave him the thing of a donkey. Maybe because he was like a workhorse, possibly. But I'd have to go back on that, but I haven't heard anything about that. But thanks for letting us know. As for regards for political parties, what a political party is a group of voters that have common interests and who want to influence the government. And so usually each of them have certain platforms. And like, for example, the Republican Party is known for being kind of more conservative and not wanting to give a lot of funds to maybe like social programs. And the Democratic Party is more liberal, and they like to give more money to like social programs and stuff like that. We said we need to change the animals to like a lion and a wolf. Yeah, they're kind of lame. I'd agree with you. Like that'd be cool to change them up a little bit. Even though elephants can get pretty mean and they're big animals, but a donkey not so much. But a lion or a wolf would be a lot cooler. I agree with you. The next one is the U.S. has two-party system because they are only two parties that hold the most of the power. Okay. The elephants are cool. Yeah, I think elephants are cool. Okay, so functions of a political party. Okay, so what they do is they have different candidates that, and then they back those candidates. And a lot of things have to do with like money and stuff. So, for example, the more money that you have, it's easier to run like in a party. So if I were to go get a nomination under the Democratic nomination, the Democratic Party will give me money in order to run for office, right? And so they have a whole bunch of backing there. So a lot of it has to do with money. Yeah, the ads are biased, yep. So you can never trust what a politician says. Let's just say that. The political parties also inform voters about certain things, or biased, right, about certain things, as was mentioned there. Ensure candidates are qualified, so to make sure that you have somebody that's just not off the street, they know what they're actually doing. The parties actually help govern, because if you go and get into be like the president of the United States, you have like what's called a cabinet, and you're always going to bring in people from your party that think alike like you into that cabinet. So like, for example, Secretary of State, the Secretary of Defense, the Secretary of Labor, right? And so they have all of those people, and so they basically, honestly, like take over how government is ran at that point in time when they get put into office. And they also act a lot like watchdogs, especially with other parties. It's like, this party is doing this, you better watch what they're doing, and you hear this all the time on TV, which sometimes it gets a little frustrating. So here is something that it's kind of interesting. So if you kind of notice, the blue is the Democrat and the red is the Republican on here. This was back in 1992. But as you see, each state has their own like number associated with it, and that's called the college electoral. So it's not about popular vote, it's more about how many college electorals you get. And depending on the college electorals is how you kind of win. So for example, when Hillary Clinton and President Trump ran, Hillary Clinton actually got more votes overall in the election than Donald Trump. But Donald Trump won the college electoral. So he got more of these points from each state, and the bigger the state, the bigger the points, right? In regards to population. But if you were to count up every single vote, Hillary Clinton actually won more votes. So kind of interesting on how it works, but that's the system that was put in place, and that's the system we kind of abide to right now. So a couple things about the Republican Party. So at the very end, right, you're going to take this little survey thing, and it'll kind of tell you with what you agree upon and disagree on of where you kind of line politically. Okay. So somebody said that election was weird. Yep, it was a very strange election. It's just been strange over the past long time, actually. Politics are just crazy. So the Republican was born from the dispute over slavery. Actually, Abraham Lincoln was the first Republican president. So at that point in time, the Republicans were against slavery, and then those they were against it. They tend to support stronger state government, so giving more control over to the states, and that's why like President Trump is allowing each state right now with the coronavirus going on for each state to manage it as they want to. So some states are like locked down, but other states are lenient. And so I'm happy about that because I'm glad Utah's a little more lenient where we're not like stay in place and shelter, right? I want to be able to get out and go to the park or something, you know. The other one is they like less change. They're more traditional in what they think. They believe in less taxes on the rich and less government spending. Okay, and their symbol is the elephant, as we talked about. That maybe we should look at changing that. That'd be kind of cool. Yeah. So somebody said California's in full lockdown, and yes, they are part of the Democratic Party, which we'll talk about in a second. So here's some prominent members of the Republican Party. You have Abraham Lincoln. You have Reagan, Ronald Reagan, George Bush, Mitt Romney, Condoleezza Rice, Sarah Palin, and then of course President Trump. I should have his picture on there. He is part of the Republican Party. The Democratic Party has roots back to Jefferson. They were actually named Democratic Republican Party, but then they shortened to just Democrat. They tend to support a stronger federal government. So if we probably had a Democrat as a president right now, they probably would have locked down the whole country rather than have each state be able to mandate things. They believe kind of in more change. They like progression a lot faster. They believe in taxing the rich a lot more. They believe in spending more on what's called government programs, such as like welfare or Social Security, that kind of stuff. And then their symbol is the donkey. And so some prominent members of the Democratic Party, John F. Kennedy, President Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, and Oprah Winfrey. So here's some things that they kind of lean towards, the Democrats and the Republicans, but I won't go like way into that because we just kind of talked about it already. There are also third parties, ones that don't line up directly with the Republican or Democratic parties, such as the Libertarian Party, Green Party, the Reform Party, but most of them aren't able to make it on the ballot. Or at least get very high. They rarely win. They lack name recognition and money. And so if you don't have money, it's hard to run in politics. So they always kind of say, are you to the left or are you to the right? How that works is the Republicans are more what they call to the right, which they have different values. And if you look at different like chambers in the House and stuff like that, all the Republicans are on the right side of the room and the Democrats are on the left. And basically, the right people hold more to like traditional values, and the left are people who support more like change in society. And so you'll kind of see that as you're taking your little quiz and going through there. Which that leads us to our exit ticket. Okay, so I'm going to put that in the chat real quick. I'm going to push it out to you. And then I'm going to share my screen and show you what I need you to do for the exit ticket. Alright. Okay, can you guys see my screen? Give me a green check mark if you can see my screen real quick. Alright, good. Okay, so I'm going to walk through this with you. Here's a video for the instructions that I'm just kind of going through. Put your name on it. It's required. I'm actually going to have you just put gender, or you don't have to put that, I don't care. And then what you're going to do is you're going to click on this link right here. And it's going to take you to this. And all you got to do is push yes that you took it and what political spectrum it took you on. So once you click on the pbs.org thing, you're going to come down, it's going to take you to this web page. And then you're going to go down to the bottom and you're going to go take quiz. And it's just going to ask you a couple questions, like 7 questions. That's it. So all you're going to do is which statement comes closer to your own views, even if you're not exactly right. Business corporations make too much profit. Most corporations make a fair and reasonable amount of profit. Okay? So you can click on either one. It doesn't matter. Well, it does matter, like just what you believe. Okay, which statement is closer? Problems in the world would be even worse without U.S. involvement. U.S. efforts to solve problems around the world usually end up making things worse. Okay? So you can click one or the other, and it'll go through and it will tell you what you are, and then you're going to put in there your answer and then submit it. And you just get credit for basically doing that assignment. So, let me stop sharing real quick. I'm going to stop the recording too. Do you guys have any questions?
Recording stopped.